Welcome to The Right Hype, a podcast about culture and brand building. My name is Gavon, and I'm a brand strategist. And as a strategist, I work across brand and media ecosystems to develop strategic positioning, narratives, and activations. I constantly am talking about culture, writing about culture, thinking about culture, and even reading culture. And my goal is to be a guide by translating cultural shifts into opportunities. Season 3 of The Right Hype starts today, and it marks a structural shift in how I read culture. Fun fact about me, I love to people watch. It's not only a part of my job, but it's just innately what I'm regularly doing. I'm always looking for patterns. Patterns tell me where culture is stabilizing and where opportunity is closing. I'm constantly asking, what can I predict using human behavior? What can I leverage? And where is there opportunity to change people's behaviors? The way that I get to those opportunities is by looking at outliers, edge cases, and context-specific wins. These anomalies matter because they reveal something really important: condition, not formula. Anomalies are where signals emerge, and signals are really important. They are early observable shifts in behavior, language, and even values that reveals where culture is moving before it becomes obvious or overexposed. Combining patterns and anomalies, I'm able to identify risks and rewards. What is the risk of acting too early versus too late? What is the risk of being wrong or the risk of not changing at all? This is really where I have to push myself and my clients to conceptually think about the future without relying too heavily on precedent. So in season 3, I'm focusing more on interpreting risk and opportunity through culture, especially in what I call the post-hype economy. We are entering a post-hype economy where hype no longer translates into durability or loyalty. Hype culture still exists, but it fades quickly and comes with higher risks and rewards. Hype no longer signals trust. Virality is cheap, loyalty is rare, and meaning is scarce. In the hype economy, which was the early 2000s, with the rise of sneaker culture, this trained an entire generation of brand builders to believe that visibility equals relevance, that momentum equals belief, and speed is a good thing. This led to louder launches, faster cycles, and borrowed relevance. Now, culture is fast moving, unpredictable, and saturated, and the signal to noise ratio has inverted. Signals are extremely important for reading culture, but noise is optimized for attention. And this is where leaders are misguided into thinking in short-term gains. Well, growth at all cost is collapsing, and visibility is no longer the finish line. Attention is abundant, but memorability, that's what's hard to achieve now. When Nike announced the partnership with Kim Kardashian to launch an entirely new subline, Nike Skims, the anticipation was immediate. Cultural conversation spiked, and the stock reacted. On paper, it looked like a textbook modern collaboration: scale, relevance, and visibility aligned. Then the collection launched. Hype didn't collapse dramatically, and it didn't need to. It just simply evaporated. The novelty wore off faster than the anticipation that built it. What was positioned as a meaningful evolution in women's sportswear quickly settled into the background of the category. Present, purchasable, but no longer culturally urgent. Nothing went wrong in the traditional sense. The product is selling, but nothing stuck either. Kim K might be the biggest influencer on the planet, but she's not a professional athlete. And that's why this feels hollow. The result of the rise and wane of Nike Skims excitement is a telltale pattern of the post-hype economy, where hype no longer signals trust and visibility often arrives before belief. Attention peaks early and relevance quietly expires. Well, the world has never been noisier, and the desire to be visible only increases the pressure on leaders to create more, be louder, Be bolder. Brand builders are working overtime to capture people's attention with content, products, events, and collaborations. But with every brand deploying these hype tactics, the value of hype has flattened, and leaders are building brands without proper context. Most of you still believe that cutting through the noise looks like visibility. Speed is now prioritized over trust, creativity is talked about more than clarity, and diverse representation and sustainability feels hollow. These misalignments create risks, and not the kind that shows up in dashboards. Visibility no longer guarantees belief, and chasing it creates the short-term spikes that feels hollow. It is belief, not attention, that compounds over time. When virality is cheap and loyalty is rare, the question isn't how loud can I be, it is how long can I stay relevant. Relevance is memory. That is why in this new chapter, I developed a framework for interpreting risk and opportunity through culture. I'm hunting down cultural context, signals, and clarity, helping leaders understand not just what is happening, but why it matters and what to do next. Going forward, the right hype will be structured around three core cultural principles. And these aren't content buckets, they are frameworks for judgment. The state of hype is a diagnostic system that reads cultural conditions, not aesthetics. Hype is treated as an analytical signal, tracking where attention and belief are compounding or decaying. It answers what's happening right now. Where is hype exhausting versus where is it accumulating? What behaviors are becoming normalized? What feels hollow or fragile? And how can this help us see around corners? The value isn't predictability, it's contextual clarity. The trust gap is the distance between visibility and belief. It explains why some brands can do less and mean more, and while others frantically do everything and still feel empty. Because virality doesn't mean valuable. The trust gap is where I get to talk about cultural trust decay. It is the danger of borrowed relevance and the cost of overexposure. It answers where hype is outpacing credibility, where audiences are quietly disengaging, and where brands are borrowing relevance instead of earning it. Ritual brands is my long-term thesis. It is my belief that the most durable brands don't win feeds. They don't win by being seen often. They win in habits, rhythms, and emotional territories. They win by being returned to. Rituals reframes brand building away from campaigns towards continuity. Brand as a weekly ritual, product as an emotional anchor, and community as recognition, not scale. And in a saturated world, ritual brands build loyalty without desperation. So stop optimizing solely for attention and start designing for return, belief, and continuity. These are the assets that compound quietly over time. And the builders who win next won't be culturally loud, they will be culturally fluent. In order to help you build a brand that lasts, my work is grounded in the belief that cultural relevance is built slowly, deliberately, and responsibly. In this season of The Right Hype, I am hyper focused on where hype is real, where trust is eroding, and how to build cultural relevance that actually lasts. Over the coming months, I'll be unpacking the state of hype in its first quarterly culture brief. I'll invite other strategists and consultants to talk about the trust gap between visibility and belief. And then I want to talk to my founders and unpack my thesis around ritual brands built for durability, not short-term spikes. If you are here to build something that lasts, you're in the right place. Please subscribe wherever you are listening today. And for more content, follow our Substack. On Substack, I'll be posting more strategy journal entries. You'll see a lot more quick takes on culture and current events. And it's also a space where I can listen to you and hear your feedback. And as always, thank you for listening.